Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? Lost in thought, I was startled when someone suddenly appeared in front of me and knelt down respectfully saying, "Greetings to Lady Huan, may the young master be at peace." The voice sounded familiar, but seeing him bowing his head, I couldn't recall who it was at the moment. After telling him to rise, I saw it was Kong Lu Hai. Xiao Yunzi, seeing him, couldn't help showing a look of disdain. Pretending not to notice, I smiled and said, "Eunuch Kong is up early. Why aren't you accompanying Consort Li?" Consort Li and Chao Ronghua went together to pay respects to the Empress. Knowing that the young master would pass through Upper Lin Garden on your return to the palace, I specifically waited here to greet you. "Oh," I asked curiously, "is there something your master needs to communicate to me?" Kong Lu Hai smiled broadly, lowering his voice. "It's not about my master, but a personal matter for which I seek the young master's favor." I glanced at him. "Go ahead, say it." Kong Lu Hai glanced at Jin Shi and Xiao Yunzi by my side, hesitated for a moment while fidgeting with his hands, and finally couldn't resist saying, "I must first congratulate you on your recent favor. Ever since I heard that the young master has been promoted to a consort, I have wanted to come and offer my congratulations. Unfortunately, I've been too caught up in trivial matters and couldn't find the time, and His Majesty has decreed not to disturb the young master's rest. I have been looking forward to inquiring after your well-being, as it would put my mind at ease." I cut him off, tired of his rambling. "Just get to the point." Kong Lu Hai hesitated briefly upon my direct question, then with a sycophantic smile said, "With the young master's promotion to consort, the palace might be short of attendants. Those brought in from the outside may not be as adept. I have been constantly concerned about the young master and thought to myself that I, having served you before, would surely know how to attend to you better than newcomers. If the young master doesn't mind my clumsiness, I am willing to serve you, even at the cost of my life." His words were so sycophantic that even Jin Shi couldn't help but frown in disdain. I asked, "Does your current master know about this idea of yours?" "This? Now that you belong to Consort Li, if she were to find out about this idea of yours, I'm afraid she would be unhappy. Moreover, how could I casually ask Consort Li to give up one of her attendants?" Kong Lu Hai pressed forward. "Don't worry, young master. Now that you are in such high favor, who would dare to defy your wishes? Just one word from you and it's done." I couldn't help but want to scoff at his shamelessness and opportunism. Such behavior is typical of Kong Lu Hai. A crisp and cold female voice sounded from behind, like a stone causing ripples in water. "No wonder I couldn't find you serving in the Zhaoyang Hall. You've encountered your former master." Turning around, I saw a beautiful and voluptuous figure, none other than Consort Li, with Chao Ronghua by her side. Compared to Consort Li, Chao Ronghua, though graceful, seemed to pale slightly in comparison. I calmly performed the necessary courtesies, and while Consort Li stood there with a cold smile, not speaking, Chao Ronghua hurriedly motioned for me to rise. Consort Li glanced at Kong Lu Hai without a word. Kong Lu Hai, clearly fearful of her, rushed to kneel before her. Consort Li turned to me and said, "I heard the Emperor assigned quite a few servants to Lady Huan's palace. Are you still short of attendants that you would take interest in this useless servant of mine?" I smiled slightly, neither humble nor arrogant. "Consort Li is mistaken. Kong Lu Hai was originally a servant in my palace, and it was thanks to your kindness that he was called to your side. Now that he is your servant, there's no reason for me to casually claim him back. Although I may be young and inexperienced, I would never make such a mistake." Consort Li snorted coldly. "You do know the rules, no wonder the Emperor favors you so, promoting you even before you've served in his chamber. Of course I cannot compare. Consort Li is too kind. It's merely the Emperor's pity for my recent illness. In the Emperor's heart, Consort Li is certainly valued far more than I am." Upon hearing my words, Consort Li's expression softened slightly. Then, without another word, she crisply slapped Kong Lu Hai across the face, causing one side of his face to swell immediately. The maid supporting her quickly advised, "My lady, be careful not to hurt your hand." She then fiercely glared at Kong Lu Hai. "Foolish servant, you've upset the mistress early in the morning and still haven't slapped yourself?" Frightened, Kong Lu Hai didn't dare to retort and hurriedly began slapping himself, making a loud smack-smack sound as he alternated hands. The maid, though young and presumably not of higher rank than Kong Lu Hai, dared to scold him harshly, showing that Kong Lu Hai's days by Consort Li's side were not easy. I simply watched coldly, feeling no pity for him. What goes around comes around. If he had known this day would come, why act as he did in the past? Consort Li's actions and temperament bore some resemblance to Lady Hua's, but she was even more impulsive and prone to display her emotions openly, unable to contain her anger and frequently punishing her servants. Chao Ronghua, likely accustomed to such scenes, didn't even raise an eyebrow, only advising, "Why should Sister Li upset herself over such trivial servants? It's not worth harming your own health." Consort Li retorted, "He's always trying to climb higher, switching allegiances at will. It shows eunuchs are rootless and lack integrity, not remembering any past kindness. Did I mistreat him in any way?" Hearing Consort Li's coarse language, Chao Ronghua slightly frowned but did not join the conversation, instead discreetly using a handkerchief to dab at her lips. After a moment, Consort Li continued bitterly, "Nowadays, these servants no longer respect me, acting brazenly and disloyally. Do they think I'm dead? They're just envious of someone else's current favor, not considering how they begged me to rescue them from their miserable situations in the past. Now they've learned to play both sides." Her words were clear, indirectly insulting me as well. The atmosphere became somewhat awkward, and sensing the tension, Chao Ronghua gently tugged at Consort Li's sleeve, whispering, "Sister Li." Consort Li withdrew her arm, raising an eyebrow at me. "It seems I've given Lady Huan a laugh by disciplining my servant." As she spoke, Kong Lu Hai had already received dozens of slaps. Because he was in front of Consort Li, he didn't dare hold back, using full force until his face was swollen and bloody. Seeing the severity of his punishment, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of pity. Maintaining a light smile as if the indirect insults from Consort Li weren't aimed at me, I said, "If Sister Consort Li's servant lacks discipline, it's right for you to correct him, even if it requires harsh measures. However, I'm concerned for Sister Consort Li's reputation. Punishing a servant here in Upper Lin Garden, where many eyes are watching, might invite gossip. If Sister finds him intolerable, it might be better to deal with him back at your palace. What do you think?" Finally, Consort Li stopped, glanced at Kong Lu Hai and said, "Enough." Then with a slight nod towards me, she and her entourage left. Kong Lu Hai, seeing her far away, crawled to me and deeply kowtowed, expressing his gratitude for sparing his life. I didn't even glance at him. "You're quite perceptive." Kong Lu Hai remained prostrate. "If the young master hadn't spoken as you did, Consort Li wouldn't have let me off so easily." As I walked away with Jinshi, I said without looking back, "Consort Li may not let you off so easily in the future. You need to look after yourself." "Young master," Kong Lu Hai called out, hesitating. I paused and he continued, "Please take care, young master. You've just gained favor and are already at your peak. Consort Li and the others are quite dissatisfied. I'm afraid." I walked on, replying softly, "To have everyone's approval is an impossible wish. Being content with my own situation is the best I can hope for." Xiao Yunzi, seeing my composed demeanor, ventured cautiously after a moment's hesitation. Consort Li's words were truly. A smile curved my lips. "What about it? I actually quite like Consort Li's straightforward personality." Xiao Yunzi looked up at me, puzzled by my response. In the palace where intrigue and covert battles are the norm, peace is a rare luxury, and much depends on the adversaries one encounters. Consort Li's transparent nature, unable to conceal her intentions, only allows her a momentary satisfaction from her sharp tongue. In contrast, those who harm in silence, without showing their intentions, are the true threats. Biting my lip in secret contemplation, I wondered if, having just received favor last night, I was already facing a formidable enemy in Consort Li. That might have been bearable on its own, but everyone knows Consort Li has the support of Lady Hua behind her. In this palace, even someone as esteemed as the Empress must endure endless grievances and worries, let alone a mere consort like me. All I can do is endure. Outside Tangli Palace, a crowd of people kneeled, barely concealing their joy. Spotting Huan Guiquan among them, I felt a flicker of surprise. Entering the courtyard, Tangli Palace seemed different from before. Huan Guiquan, with a face full of wrinkles smiling, greeted me with exceptional enthusiasm. Congratulations on your distinguished favor, a supreme honor indeed. He then led me into an Xian hall, which appeared newly renovated, with walls that seemed freshly painted, exuding a pleasant fragrance. Huan Guiquan explained, "This morning, by the emperor's decree, we rushed to prepare everything, hoping to meet the young master's satisfaction." Jin Shi, also smiling, said, "The honor of the Jiao Feng is a tradition reserved for significant weddings in the palace. Apart from the empresses throughout history, few consorts have received such a special favor. Only Lady Shu of the previous dynasty and the current Lady Hua have been granted this privilege before you, making you the third in the palace. The Jiao Feng, representing the highest honor in the palace, involves coating the walls with a mix of spices and clay for warmth, fragrance, and fertility, symbolizing a prosperous and fruitful union." The thought made my cheeks flush. "More children, Xianling. Do you wish for me to bear our children?" Huan Guiquan gestured for me to look closer at the bed, now adorned with brand new, brightly embroidered cherry fabrics and a pair of golden thread mandarin duck quilts, symbolizing auspiciousness and harmony. Beneath the quilt, I discovered a collection of shiny copper coins and dried fruits such as longan, dates, lotus seeds, and peanuts, warming my heart with his thoughtful gesture. Tears welled up in my eyes, which I quickly wiped away before turning to inquire. The emperor learned of the common folk tradition of scattering the bed, and ordered us to prepare accordingly. Acknowledging with a nod, Jin Shi suggested, "You must be tired, young master. We'll leave now, and Lu Zhu and Huan Bai will stay to attend to you." With that, she led the others out. Lu Zhu, unable to contain her excitement, repeatedly exclaimed, "Good." Huan Bai, with a gleam in her eye, said, "With the emperor holding you in such high regard, we, as your servants, can finally rest easy after these long months of hardship." Everything was happening so swiftly and beautifully, beyond my wildest dreams, leaving me almost dazed with joy. Overwhelmed by my thoughts, I reflected, I never expected the emperor to treat me this way. Gaining and maintaining favor in the palace is difficult, and it's uncertain whether Xianling's generous treatment of me was due to my appearance, intelligence, or perhaps the novelty and persistence of my affections. Maybe it was all of these reasons, or perhaps none at all. Rubbing my temples to ease the fatigue, I instructed Lu Zhu and Huan Bai to carefully store the scattering the bed items before settling down to sleep. Surrounded by the vibrant reds and embroidery of mandarin ducks and cherries, symbolizing love and continuity, I hoped for a future filled with such harmonious blessings. Mandarin ducks, may countless bolts of red silk embroider the sky with your likeness.
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.